Today we're diving into a conflict that's about way more than just military bases and missiles. We're looking at how a regional war gets deliberately engineered to become a global economic crisis. Seriously, we're talking about a strategy that's designed to push oil to $150 a barrel, trigger worldwide inflation, and turn luxury vacation spots into the front lines. So, let's get into it.
You know, for millions of people, tourists, families on vacation, business travelers, this isn't some abstract geopolitical game. This is the war landing, literally, right across the street. That feeling of safety and stability that places like Dubai have built their entire brand on. It can vanish in a single moment. And that's not an accident. That is a calculated, strategic act of economic warfare.
So how in the world does a fight in one region spiral out to affect everyone? Well, it's not about winning on the battlefield in the traditional sense. It's about making the war so incredibly painful economically for the entire world that the coalition fighting it just falls apart from the pressure. And experts, they have a name for this whole playbook. It's called the Escalation Trap.
Okay, so it all kicks off with what looks like a picture-perfect military victory. You've got the US and its allies launching these incredibly precise, devastatingly effective strikes. And on paper, it looks like a huge win, a total success. But here's the thing, military strategists like Robert Pape have been warning about for years. Hitting your targets doesn't mean you've won. A tactical success is one thing, but controlling the political fallout, that's a whole other ballgame. And this is the first step into the trap. That first punch didn't end the fight, it just started a brand new, and honestly, a much scarier phase of the war.
And that brings us to stage 2, Iran's counterpunch. See, they know they can't go toe-to-toe with the US military, so they don't even try. Instead, they change the entire battlefield, from military sites to economic lifelines. This is a classic move, and it's called horizontal escalation.
This right here is the absolute core of their entire strategy. Iran knows it can't win a direct fight. So instead of trying to win, it decides to make it impossible for the US to win. And how do you do that? You go after the weak spots, the economic vulnerabilities of America's allies, to break that coalition apart.
And here are the prime targets. I mean, just look at this. Countries like the UAE and Bahrain have huge chunks of their economy built on industries that need one thing above all else, the feeling of safety. So, Iran isn't just firing missiles randomly. It's aiming them right at the economic heart of America's biggest regional partners.
So think about the logic here for a second. Hitting a 5-star hotel in Dubai or the international airport in Abu Dhabi, that has zero military value. But what it does do is send a powerful message to every investor, tourist, and CEO in the world. This place is not a safe haven anymore. The whole point is to spark panic, scare away money, and make the price of hosting American military bases just too high to pay.
And then comes this move. It's a brilliant piece of public coercion. Iran basically goes on TV and tells its neighbors, look, you have a choice. You can keep suffering these economic attacks, or you can kick out the American forces that are launching strikes from your land. It is a calculated move designed to drive a wedge right through the middle of the American alliance.
But Iran's economic war doesn't stop in the region. Nope. The next part of the strategy is designed to be felt in your country, my country, every country on Earth.
It's a totally fair question, right? How does that happen? Well, the answer lies in one very narrow, very important strip of water. A waterway that is basically the planet's oil jugular, the Strait of Hormuz. 21 million. That's how many barrels of oil pass through this one little choke point. Not a week, not a month, every single day. That's over a fifth, more than 20% of the entire world's daily oil supply, and it's all controlled by a country that can threaten it with just a few drones and speedboats.
The second that strait is credibly threatened, or even just looks like it might be, the global economy has a heart attack. It's not just about the oil that stops flowing. Insurance costs for tankers go through the roof. Captains won't risk their ships. And when you suddenly yank a fifth of the world's oil off the market, prices are projected to shoot past $150 a barrel. And that means a massive wave of inflation that hits every one of us at the gas pump and the grocery store.
And, you know, this kind of chaos doesn't happen in a vacuum. There are other major players on the world stage just watching and waiting for an opportunity. For Russia, and America distracted from Ukraine, plus sky-high oil prices, that's a huge win. For China, a US military stuck in the Middle East means fewer American ships and planes in the Pacific, which could make a move on Taiwan look a lot more tempting.
And we're not just talking about passive support, like them just sitting back and enjoying the show. Oh no, it's active teamwork. We have confirmed intelligence that Russia is feeding Iran specific, real-time targeting data. What that does is it turns Iran's pretty basic drones and missiles into much, much deadlier weapons, capable of hitting sophisticated US and allied targets with scary precision.
So all of this, the economic attacks, the global inflation, the secret alliances, it brings us right back to that core idea we started with, the escalation trap. It's this vicious cycle where a big military win at the start actually forces a superpower into a series of worse and worse choices.
And that's the trap right there. The first punch, the tactical success, it didn't solve anything. It actually created a much bigger, messier problem. So now the US is stuck between a rock and a hard place. It can either back down, which looks like a humiliating political defeat, or it can double down, maybe even with a ground invasion, and risk getting sucked into another forever war.
It really makes you rethink what winning a war even looks like these days, doesn't it? It's pretty clear that modern warfare isn't just fought with bombs and bullets anymore. It's fought with economic pressure, political wedges, tools that can cause chaos for your opponents and their allies thousands of miles away from any actual battlefield.